Now joining me is Steve Lough. Is it Lough, Steve, that the pronunciation of your last name?
Yes, it's Lough because the campaign slogan is "Aim high, vote low."
So. All right, I already like this guy. Steve, you're running in South Carolina's 5th district, and is it true that you are in fact a clown?
Yes, I've been a professional circus clown for about 30 years. Went to Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College, which was actually more difficult to get into than Dartmouth. Yeah, worked for the Ringling Brothers Circus, worked in Japan for a circus over there for many years, and and been a children's entertainer for 30 years. Yeah.
So for all those years, you worked with human and animal performers, is that correct?
Everybody from around the world. We have 2 dogs that we trained ourselves. My wife is Japanese. We trained those dogs and worked them in the show and everything. Yeah, my friends are all different kinds of people. Yeah.
Yep. Well, then I think that there's some chance you're going to fit into Congress really well.
Oh yeah. Well, they're the worst clowns I've ever seen in my entire life, and everybody says Washington's like a circus. Let me tell you, Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus was the most well-run, efficient machine as far as loading it in, loading it out, doing the show. Unbelievably efficient. We actually, the little trivia for you, Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus taught the U.S. government before World War II how to load and unload the flat cars. So we were actually responsible for the war effort. For that part of the war effort. Yeah.
So that's fascinating. I didn't know that. And literally for 30 years, you were going city to city on the trains and loading and unloading and setting up the circus.
Well, for about 7 years for Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, 3 years for Kinoshita Circus in Japan, and then the last 10 years, I was doing an anti-bullying school show all over Eastern North Carolina that was sponsored by McDonald's. And yeah, that was a wonderful, wonderful thing, and got to meet a lot of wonderful teachers and kids. And that's why I'm such a big proponent. I don't have any kids of my own, but I'm fighting for everybody else's kids.
So did you ever play Ronald McDonald?
Well, I worked with Ronald McDonald in some of the parades and stuff. I had to set up and tear down, so I'm very well familiar with the character. Yeah, like a personal assistant.
Okay, I love it, and I love how you're not running away from it; you're running to it. That's my style. I can't get enough of that. In fact, Steve's website is clownforcongress.com. But I want people to understand that it's a serious campaign because your positions are, well, I'm biased. I think they're great.
Yes.
So and do you have Democratic opponents in the primary or no?
Yes, I have one. There are a couple other opponents that don't have as much money, but there's one particular opponent that is very annoying, and it's one of the reasons that I decided to run. He's a Goldman Sachs multimillionaire. He's one of the guys who helped create the whole tax thing where they can hide money overseas and hide it from Uncle Sam. So he's saying that he's running as a progressive Democrat, right? So that kind of ticks me off. I went to Dartmouth. I went to school with a lot of people. I was there while Laura Ingraham was there. I went to school with a lot of people that went to work for Goldman Sachs and investment banks, and those people are not doing it. They're nice people, but they're not doing it to help poor people. They're doing it to make rich people richer. And when I was in the circus, actually, if you'd like to see this, I try to hold this up for the camera. Okay, you see, oh, you can't see it, can you? Oh yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that's me as Mr. Moneybags in the clown car. I heard you say Mr. Moneybags the other night, right?
Yep.
And that's me at Ringling Brothers Circus playing a character like a Goldman Sachs millionaire Moneybags.
That's funny. So it's Mr. Moneybags versus Mr. Moneybags. And And your opponent is someone you might run into in a circus tent. He's like a magician. He makes money disappear.
Yeah.
It goes offshore, and all of a sudden they're not paying taxes on it.
Exactly.
So, and then in the general election, you're up against Ralph Norman, who's a Republican who took Mick Mulvaney's seat. So, and look, so that's a pretty Republican district, then I take it. What's your battle plan for being able to beat a Republican in that district?
Okay. After I beat the Goldman Sachs millionaire, I'm going to beat the real estate millionaire who inherited his millions from his daddy. And Trump supporters, actually, I grew up with guns. I grew up playing football and everything. So I can talk to conservative people as people, and I got a letter from a Trump supporter. If you'll indulge me for a minute, I can read this letter.
Okay.
Steve, I am nowhere near your district and a Trump Republican. And in my opinion, we need more people like you in Congress. Your 30 years with the circus, traveling this great country of ours, gives you what I call real world experience. And I'm sure put you in touch with everyday real life Americans. Now, here's the good part. I agree that we need Medicare for all and reasonable gun laws. I'm sure we would differ greatly on how to get there, but that's what makes this country great. All that said, good luck. I truly believe we need more people with real life experience running our government. I'm not a wealthy man, and I don't donate money to any candidates, ever. My donation is well wishes and a pat on the back. Go, Steve, and keep all those wonderful and diverse people you have met in your thoughts at all times. Anywhere you go, people are people and want the same things in life. Do what's right for them. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I can do better than anybody in this race.
So does your Democratic opponent agree that we should go for Medicare for all?
No, he does not.
Aye. Okay, so I know you're animated by the fight for 15. So
Yes.
Why that issue in particular?
Well, like I was telling you, I was sponsored by McDonald's the last 10 years, and I traveled all over Eastern North Carolina. I spent a lot of time in those kitchens doing publicity events and things as an assistant. And I got to meet a lot of the hardest working people that I've ever seen in my life. And I'm fighting for those people. And I can't outraise money. I can't fight my opponent with money. But what I can do is promise every fast food worker, McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Taco Bell, Long John Silver, we'll even bring Zaxby's along, Chick-fil-A. I can promise all those workers that I will fight for you because I've seen those kitchens. I've been in there. Those people are wonderful people. We did a PR buying backpacks for kids to go back to school, right? Down in Fayetteville. The air conditioner was broken, so it was like 90 something degrees in there, just sweating buckets. But they had school supplies and backpacks. And you know what? The managers of that Fayetteville McDonald's had pooled their money to buy those school supplies for those children. Those are the kind of people that work in fast food and McDonald's everywhere. They're the salt of the earth. And I love those people. And as a clown, I did a lot of birthday parties. And let me tell you, brother, poor people tip you better and treat you nicer than any rich person I've ever met my entire life. Ask any performer anywhere in the world, they'll tell you the same.
Wow, that is interesting. All right, last question.
So my plan is to mobilize all of those workers, get them to text each other, and we'll just outvote all the rich people. Tell them all, say, hey, man, we got a guy that's going to fight for us and go to the finish line. So we need your vote. Register by May 12th, vote in the June 12th primary.
Well, it's hard to forget your website. Like I said, Clown for Congress at least is super easy to spread around and have it go viral. We're going to put up all the links, including for volunteers and donations down below. in the description box on YouTube and comment section on Facebook. So, Steve, one last question for you about policy. You say you want a new Marshall Plan for America. What does that mean?
That means we need to rethink how we are investing all of our money. Just like we rebuilt Europe, it's time to trim the defense budget a little bit and invest in America. I mean, rebuilding our schools, paying our teachers what they deserve. Let's see, the Fight for 15, raising the minimum wage, a jobs program to maybe hire some of these young kids that need something to do to keep them out of trouble. Maybe they can rebuild or refurbish houses. I volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, something like that. So people can get out there, learn some job skills, and that's what I mean by that, a jobs program.
So when they go high with donors, you need to go low in South Carolina.
with everybody texting each other, a vote doesn't cost any money.
All right. Well,
spread the word.
Steve Lough, thank you for joining us at Rebel Headquarters. You are undoubtedly a unique candidate and as a clown we could finally get behind. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. All right. Good to see you, Cenk.
All right. Good to see you.